Welcome back, let's go.
That's it! Flash.
You
didn't read the line!
I clicked back to get back to the game and it skipped it.
Oh my God.
I scrolled it down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, my entire room had changed drastically. I'm not doing narration. My throat's hurting too much.
That's fine.
You can hear it in my voice.
I'm not doing
bad.
it either.
The numbness in my head was gone, and slowly I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long had I been squatting here? How many minutes? It's been hours. It was almost as if the hands on the clock had stopped moving the entire time my eyes were closed. That's how little time had passed. Really. The air in the room wasn't filled with that dim madness from before, only a dull silence. Rena wasn't there pinning my arms, and Mion wasn't there about to inject me with a needle. No way. Could it be? All of it was a hallucination? There was no other presence in the room besides my own. It was the weirdest experience I'd ever had. I was certainly with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized by some sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was a hallucination. Neither Rena nor Mion, they wouldn't ever do something so terrible. My head grew hot. I could tell my emotions were welling up. Why? Wasn't a reason to cry? Why? Was sorrow? Why was I sad? I don't understand. Kind to everyone, not discriminating against age or gender? Mion. That was Mion sprawled by the window in an unnatural pose. Oh, the grin on my face. Oh my goodness.
The grinning.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You suck. No.
Blood stained her chest a deep red from her head down to her chest. The bright crimson smeared on the walls. That splatter had undoubtedly come from Mion. She always had that bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Rena.
No. Fuck this game. I'm done.
That same Rena was slumped at my feet and was making the same pool of blood as Mion. I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? They beat these two down with this metal bat? I finally noticed the weight in my right hand. How long had it been there? It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in a deep red. There was no doubt this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house. Looking at this objectively, I couldn't think of anyone other than myself who could have done it. I did this. That's right. Keiichi Maebara. Of course I did it. I told myself gently as if coaxing myself. Hey, me. There's no reason for you to remember it, nor is there any reason to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you? But the blood, the blood, there's so much. Neither Rena nor Mion had moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead and a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with just 2 or 3 strikes. Were they dead, both of them? The depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicking and agitated. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once, twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. Calm down. I chanted that over and over in my head and relaxed.
Everything is all right.
Color came back to my vision and smells re-infused the air. At the same time I remembered what happened when I blacked out. Rena and Mion had attacked me. They're about to inject me with whatever caused the same symptoms as Tomitaki-san. But right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Rena as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot as hard as I could into Mion's torso. It was soft. Rena tried jumping on me, so I tackled her as hard as I could and slammed her against the wall. I didn't let that brief moment of having them off balance slip by. Satoshi's bat was left carelessly by the side of my desk. At that moment, everything went pitch black. There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape in my mind. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that there was nothing recorded. It recorded just fine. Just the other me inside myself had told me not to look and had turned off the TV. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see it didn't mean the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV was just off, the video was still playing. The tape with me creaking along, still playing. On the other end of that pitch black screen, that horrifying video was still playing on. Compared to this, though, the scene right before my eyes was still so difficult to take in. There was blood splattered everywhere on the walls, the two of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. Couldn't even tell if they were breathing. No matter what circumstances were, my friends, these girls, I'd attacked them. Maybe even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been the one done for. Balancing that out on an imaginary scale, it felt odd that I didn't even feel bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was justifiable self-defense. The proof was all here. The two of them collapsed here, and me on syringe filled with some unknown drug that would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Tomataki-san. And from the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after the other. Still, I might be suspected for this, but that was just fine. Anyway, now this should be a police affair. This wouldn't fade into the darkness like Rena's past incidents. As long as the police were involved, that should bring this to a close. They'll probably revisit their investigation on the chain of incidents. Oishi-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish of not wanting to die, of wanting to know the truth, that would be fulfilled in its most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. The Dr. Rena called should be getting here soon. I'll confess everything to him. I needed to contact Oishi-san. At that moment I remembered. Besides the doctor, a manager had been called. It was easy to imagine they were someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Rena and Mion's conversation. The ache in my chest, caused by the gruesome deed I'd done, dissipated rapidly. It was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Staying calm, Keiichi Maebara. It's not over yet. I need to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment I felt like I heard someone's voice from outside. Since people were speaking, it must mean there was more than one person. I moved to the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the dam site today. Those 2 might even be among them. There was one person there wearing a white coat, but he didn't look like a doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as a doctor. That guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door, pretend to be a doctor to get me to open the door, and the rest of them would all rush in at once. That moment I saw the car parked behind the men, and my heart nearly skipped a beat. The white van!
Oh shit. There it is.
No mistaking it. The van, the one that had tried to run me down. The man in the white coat had entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. I probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they just break the windows and enter. I needed to get out of here somehow. Then use a public phone to contact Oishi-san. And meet up somewhere. First of all, I need a weapon. Then shoes. But before all of that, there was one thing I had to do. I had no intention of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth about this nonsensical curse of Oyashiro-sama. But what would happen from here on, regardless of how determined I was? That may bring about my demise. And that was why. There's one more important thing than getting out of here right now. I need to get that clock out quickly and take down the note hidden behind it. Damn it! The tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I'd open up the slightly torn note and began writing another passage with a ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able to inform Oishi-san, then the only thing I could rely on was this note. I'd never thought a piece of torn, college-ruled notebook paper could be this reliable before. At no time, I'd only written what I knew right now. I need to leave some sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. This was an undeniable fact. I still didn't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all the information that would help lead them to finding the perpetrators. There are four or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. Also, there was that unidentified person known as the manager. To begin with, the term manager didn't even mesh with Hinamizawa at all. If they were going to include the managers from the past incidents, then only one is the construction foreman, the victim from the first murder. The very first victim in the chain of incidents. Killed in a lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. The police should have confirmed that death. But Rena and Mion did both call him manager. They said manager. They wouldn't use that term to refer to someone who is dead. The police would never even conceive that someone who's deceased could be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know. But even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Oishi-san. That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but the start of this string of mysterious deaths that would follow. So then there must be something hidden there. Please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. His death should have been established after an autopsy. Logically, you would think as much. But was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but he may still be alive. I have no time to ponder that right now. Oh yeah, there's something even more important I need to write. Tomitaki-san's death was from an unknown drug. That's right. That drug, it was an irreplaceable piece of evidence. No doubt just by having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave that vital clue lying on the floor. This syringe is proof. Writing that down, I stuck the syringe onto the back of the clock with plenty of tape, so it absolutely would not slip out and fall to the floor, firmly. The bell rang. They were here. I couldn't write anymore, but even still, there's one last thing that I had to write. I have no idea why it's become like this. This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I wrote on this note. If you're reading this, then I am probably already dead, though you may or may not find my body. If I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from the curse or being demoned away, you who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire.
Shout out to Maria.
Shout out to Maria. With this, my last will and testament was complete. It wasn't certain that I was going to die, but it was my final plea. Just in case. I folded the note, stuck it back onto the back of the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. I couldn't help but pray. Oishi-san, if something happens to me, I leave the rest to you. After that, I gazed down silently at Rena and Mion. This was probably the last time we'd ever see each other. Rena, Mion. I really had thought all of us were friends. But why did it end up like this? Never had any fun in my previous school. Only worried about standardized test scores, about if the school I'd hoped to get into was where I wanted to go, or a safety net. It was all I talked about. It was a dull life. These people I called friends were also my rivals in studying, in competitions, in personal records, and standardized test scores. Everyone here told me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month really was fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over the club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping from my face. Uncontrollable tears. I should have no obligation to shed tears for them. But they wouldn't stop. Even if they were after my life. Even if they were trying to kill me. Everything that happened this month, I wouldn't forget it. Or could it be those happy days were all a facade as well? Was it all a trap meticulously orchestrated up until today to ensnare me? Could it have been that I just arbitrarily assumed they were my friends? That couldn't have been the case. Both Rena and Mion, they were really my friends. Those happy days, there was nothing fake or unclear about them. Someone probably forced them to try and kill me. Or their minds were taken over, possessed by the supernatural entity known as Oyashiro-sama. Regardless, both Rena and Mion, they were the best friends ever. And when they were coming after me, it wasn't of their own volition. They weren't the kind of people to sell off friends, regardless of whether they were forced. There's no way such a thing like being possessed by Oyashiro-sama could happen in reality. Then did the real Rena and Mion come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly, dumb idea. Having beaten down both Rena and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There was no real or fake, only the reality that was before me. Rena and Mion was sprawled out at my feet, and that was the only truth. I was only trying to twist the facts to my benefit, that I'd beaten my friends to death. No matter how I spun it, it wouldn't change the reality. Rena and Mion were both dead. It felt like there was a crack in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. I felt like my calm state, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded, and in that opening, insanity was leaking out. I killed them. I killed them. Rena and Mion. I killed them. The doorbell rang again. I gotta stop this, my throat is hurting so much. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure once again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away.
Yes, composed.
I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever or whatever had pushed me this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would survive. I would definitely survive.
Certainly, even.
I killed Rena for that very reason. I also killed Mion. I went that far just to keep living. So I can't die. For my sake and for the sake of the late Rena and Mion. I have to survive. I ran towards the door and grabbed my shoes. The doorbell rang as if to urge me on. Behind this single solitary door, they were there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen. Headed towards the back door. Before opening the back door, I put my ear to it and checked for people outside. No one? After I put on my shoes, I opened the door slowly so as not to make a sound.
There is the back door!
A piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on end. I had to run. Get out of here, Keiichi. One after the other, I felt stuff like rationale and intelligence, those things used when you have time to spare, spill out of me. I didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arms and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire body, my entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else it desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever, so of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran. Just recklessly rushing in the direction I was already heading. Even if nobody was chasing me, I'd still be running like this. There wasn't a thought in my mind about where I was headed. Turning around, I felt a presence right next to me. That presence was without a doubt chasing me like my shadow. If I took even one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought. So I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran. At full speed. That was the chirping of the Higurashi telling me it was the evening. Trying to tell me something, and then I finally heard it. The wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Would I be joining them? Only the Higurashi knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more of the Higurashi's chirps. But the farther I ran, the further away their chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. 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 I felt that only the Higurashi knew. Oh my gosh.
Fuck. Someone's apologizing so much, maybe you should just forgive them.
Where are we now? Chased by shadows.
The smoking room was filled with a cloud of cigarette smoke. The expensive smoke filter gave off some crackling electric noise, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. Why do smokers have to be shoved so far down this corridor where the sun didn't even reach? I recalled hearing that the tax revenue from tobacco was about a tenth of the municipality's revenue. We were the most heavily taxed members of this municipality, so I really wish they'd show us a little more respect. Why would you discard the 5 manzu there? It's just decreasing your options. One of the younger detectives was having a staring contest with the Mayo magazine called Next Turn. You'll still intend by if you cut the 5 manzu. Do you want to take this younger
Sure,
guy?
if you're betting on a high tay, then shouldn't you be going into it with the mangan?
I don't know what this is.
Don't know what this is.
Kuma-chan, look at the pond! They all discarded the 5 manzu. It's a save tile. You'd hate if at end game someone was sitting on a 10 play in the last turn, wouldn't you? The kid let out another groan, put out his cigarette, and took out another one.
I just don't agree. Why would you reduce your own options?
By the way, you can't go run with your winning tile in that high-tay.
What? Why is that?
Just then I heard a voice coming from down the hall. Do you want to take this guy as well?
You hear, Yuichi-san? You have a call from a civilian?
Thank you. Oh, ain't that something? Well, see you soon. We're on the tips, so you gotta take the extras in the scene.
Okay. Why can't you call Ron on it? Hold on for a second, Yuichi-san. His voices are all over the place, but...
That's right, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure they won't come up again. The man sitting in the seat Oishi-san was heading towards waved at the telephone receiver. Outside line... Oh, this is some random dude.
Outside line from a payphone.
Thank you. Oh, why thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is Orishi. Who is it?
Rishi-san, hello?
Oh, if it isn't Mayabara-san, why, good evening. From the tone of Mayabara-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. This was the first time Mayabara-kun had phoned me, and he was calling from a payphone. Please, calm down. Did something happen? His voice was erratic over the line. He'd completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone. What happened? Calm down, Mayabara-san. I can have the local officers head to your location. I'll be there soon, too.
I think that's impossible.
His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people even as he was making this call, was he? Mayabara-san, you're calling from a payphone right now, right? Where is that payphone? There were no other sounds besides Mayabara-kun's voice. It had to be a phone booth. I scratched out a note and thrust it at my colleague sitting across from me. Hinamizawa phone booth. He understood quickly and hastily started on the internal lines. Calm down, Mayabara-san. What is your current situation? Usually wasn't a good idea to tell someone panicking to do so, but this was not a usual case. Mayabara-kun didn't just get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the midst of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Mayabara-kun right now would just needlessly cause him to be even more frantic. Mayabara-kun wasn't just calling to seek help. He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever that was, if I didn't get it from his call, I was certain there would never be another chance. My colleague pushed a note in front of me. There's only one booth in Hinamizawa. A patrol car is on the way. 5 minutes. That's too long! How many officers are in there?
2?
Not enough. If it was as I imagined, there were likely quite a few people surrounding Mayabara-kun. 5 minutes was too long. Did you call the officer stationed in Hinamizawa?
He's scheduled to be on patrol. They're currently out and it'll be impossible to contact them.
God damn! Kuma-chan, bring the car around.
Understood.
Hello?
Hello? Oh wait, fuck, wrong voice. Hello, Ishi-san.
Hello, it's alright. I can hear you loud and clear. There was something wrong with Mayabara-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting. Was it blood? Had he only been attacked? Was he injured? Mayabara-san, the police are on their way. They'll be there in a couple of minutes, so hold on somehow. Hello? Can you hear me? Mayabara-san! I could hear on the other end of the line that he was having a coughing fit. The worst possible situation popped into my head. Mayabara-san, who is the culprit? How many are there?
I thought at first the culprit was human.
I couldn't tell if that was a cough or vomiting. Are you alright, Mayabara-san?
I thought that the culprit was a person, and not Yoshiro-sama's curse, up until right now, but I guess in the end...
It was an intense bout of coughing, then vomiting.
But I guess Yoshiro-sama does exist. No, he's... here.
Mayabara-san, please calm down.
I've been thinking it was strange for a while now. It's been following me this whole time. I run and run and run and run, but it just sticks to me like my shadow. But slowly, so slowly, it's digging itself into my back.
Mayabara-san, are they right now perhaps right behind you?
Behind me, right behind me.
Please, Mayabara-san, I can tell you're scared, but please, who is it that's right behind you?
I can't just look behind me. If I do, I'll...
I understand that you're scared, but please tell me, you just need to turn around a bit. Who is it? Who is behind you, Mayabara-san? Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. What followed was a nightmarish sound. Mayabara-san, it couldn't be that you're clawing out your own throat. There was no answer, but I could hear something like scratching. There was a bang, as if something was being hit. Mayabara-kun had probably dropped the receiver. I could hear groaning and vomiting over on the other end and a repeating abnormal noise. Hello? Hello? My son, hello! I knew how far away my voice would sound on the other end, but I couldn't help but shout. At the moment, I heard the whispering coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying, and the way he was saying it. Was he talking to himself, or was he talking to someone there? Hello, son. Rather than whispering, it was some kind of mantra he was chanting. Over and over, I focused my senses trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly? Beep. Suddenly the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. It was because it cut out so abruptly. The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind.
Ishi-san, the car's good to go. Ishi-san?
It was, I am sorry.
Ishi-san?
That's what he was repeating over and over. He said, I'm sorry. I had the gut feeling there was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirp of the Higurashi spilling in from the open window. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. I just wasn't paying any attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Were they trying to tell me something? Only the Higurashi knew. That's how I felt. July 1983. In Inamizawa, a remote village near Shishibone City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. The suspect is Keiichi Maebara, age 14. The suspect called over his 2 female classmates, Rena Ryugu Mion Sonozaki, to his house and beat them to death with a metal bat. The scene of the crime was the suspect's room on the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of the room was covered with a significant quantity of splattered blood, and there were signs of a struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, living room, and kitchen all had traces of a struggle. At the entryway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted with a strong blunt force. It is believed to have been the same bat as the murder weapon. Having no traces of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There is a possibility that the suspect overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back, then thrown aside. It is hard to believe that this had a connection to the struggle with the victims, and thus the reason for this remains unknown. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart and its contents were spread out on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area, and handprints believed to belong to the suspect were discovered. It is believed that the suspect had, for some reason, taken out the garbage and struck with his fists. The reason for this remains unknown. In addition, there was a note stuck to the fridge. The words, "Was there a needle?" were written on it. The meaning behind this remains unclear. Just in case, the garbage was searched, but a needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect's fingerprints were discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. The suspect fled the scene of the crime. However, a patrolling officer, Hinamizawa Local PD, found the suspect collapsed inside a phone booth. At the time of the discovery, the suspect was unconscious in critical condition. He was rushed to the local hospital for treatment, but did not regain consciousness and died 24 hours later. The results of the autopsy indicate the immediate cause of death to have been hypovolemic shock. It was determined that the suspect had clawed at his own throat with his fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With the similarities to the death of Tomitake-san, Flash, the prior week, the police believe there to be a connection of open investigation. However, due to the wishes of the local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that drugs were involved, but as with Tomitake-san Flash, no traces were discovered. What prompted all this remains inexplicable. As such, this case is being treated as an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect's bizarre behavior leading up to the incident, it is possible that this was premeditated. Separated from this group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behavior, several days before the incident, the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behavior as well as talking to himself at school. His classmates have actually heard portions of what he was saying. 2 days before the incident, the suspect declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to these circumstances, the police have begun an investigation on the possibility that his crime was not committed on impulse but was instead planned several days in advance. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets from a B5 college ruled notebook that had each been torn in half, and as if trying to conceal it, was hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written in the appendix. The police believe it to be strongly related to the incident. The police changed their line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, no further clues were found, casting doubt on the credibility of the note. Was the crime impulsive or premeditated? With the situation unclear and no further developments, the case has been labelled as unresolved. However, the following year, suspicion arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on 2 halves of B5 paper from 2 separate sheets, but was originally a single sheet of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines from the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letters, the missing section is estimated to be 2 to 3 lines. It is highly probable that the person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from traces of large quantities of cellophane tape being stuck to the back of the clock, speculation that something other than the note was stuck there has arisen. The person who first discovered the crime was a detective, rumored to have a connection with the incident, Keiichi. He underwent voluntary questioning, but denies involvement in any damages to the note. The suspect's note. I, Keiichi Maibara, am in fear for my life. I do not know why they are after my life. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oishiro-sama's curse. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This is all in the first sheet. Everything below this has been ripped out. This is from the second sheet. Everything above this has been ripped out. I have no idea why it has become like this. If you're reading this, then I am probably already dead. Though the only difference may be the presence or lack of a body. You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. Keiichi Maibara. And that's it.
There we go.
Higurashi When They Cry, a 7th expansion presents Welcome to Inamizawa When They Cry. A new scenario has been unlocked. The All Cast Review session has become available. To play it, press Extra on the title menu, and then pick the All Cast Review session.
Oh boy.
Tea party time.
Alrighty, let's go.
Yay! Let's do the thing. Let's do the thing. Let's have lots of fun times in Inamizawa. Done. Achievement unlocked. Please uncover the truth. Alright, let's do it.
All Cast Review session.
I'm excited. Get your voices ready.
Oh,
there's a lot of them.
Boy.
Oh boy, hey Rena, how you doing? Thank you for buying Higurashi When They Cry on Ikekushi, a visual novel by our 7th expansion. How was it? If you enjoyed it, even a little bit, it would make me very happy.
Even a little bit is stretching it. That incredibly dark ending made me angry, you know.
You told us, Sadako! Made us angry. As I understand it, this Nikikushi chapter is supposed to be somewhat of a prologue to the entire series.
How could the prologue have such an incredibly dark ending?
Yeah, but that doesn't that happen sometimes? The player digging through the story in order to avoid a bad ending is the point of these types of games after all.
It's still just the first chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one.
What happens in the next chapter? Rena, do you know?
Yeah, they said the next chapter will introduce another aspect of the story.
How incredibly specific.
I know, right? It's so helpful.
That's a strange way of putting it. What does that mean?
Well, in this chapter, they introduced a string of mysterious deaths that were happening in Hinamizawa recently, right? The next chapter will introduce some of the history of Hinamizawa.
One strange event after another, I got totally lost. What exactly is Oishiro-sama's curse about? Actually, what is Oyoshiro-sama to begin with? They didn't explain it much.
All fascinating questions. I haven't heard much about it, but I have kind of a bad feeling about it. It feels like it'll be another one of those scary stories where somebody gets cursed again.
Tough luck, Kei-chan. What kind of curse is he gonna get hit with this time?
However, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of story it's going to be.
What trouble is he gonna get into next? That
silly old
hooligan
boy.
Sorry for being late. My bed. Hey everybody, good work today.
Same to you. Where's Kei-chan?
Keiichi kun is already off reading the script for the next chapter. It must be hard being the main character. Huh? That's too bad. He could have at least poked in to say hello.
But then we need to draw his sprite.
It's probably because he doesn't have any character art, so he couldn't poke his head in even if he wanted to.
I'm too good at this.
Oh, Rika-san, that's what we refer to as a personal problem. In any case, that story really was a lot of trouble, especially for Keiichi-kun and Rika-chan.
I said Rena.
Rena-chan. What'd I say?
Rika.
I said Rika. I meant to say Rena. My bad.
Trouble, that was the mother of all bad ends.
I wonder, what was the identity of the thing that attacked Keiichi-kun? My theory is that it was the work of people who made it to look like a curse. But at the end, Keiichi made that phone call.
Yeah, I also thought that call was strange. At that point, Kei-chan should have been certain the culprits were people.
That really was a strange phone call. It almost sounded like he was being chased by a ghost or something.
Just from that phone call, it really makes me think that it was the work of a curse after all. Since we're all here, why don't we all share theories? Let's start with Sonozaki-san.
I absolutely believe it was people. I think it was a man-made incident and was just imitating the strange folklore floating around Hinamizawa.
Certainly. Every year on the day of the festival, for another link of the chain of mysterious deaths to happen certainly is suspicious.
That so-called chain of mysterious deaths is definitely somebody trying to reenact the folklore. Definitely.
Certainly.
I think it was the curse. Looking at the scene where Keiichi-san went berserk in the entryway and the last scene with the phone call, I just couldn't come to the conclusion that a person was the culprit.
When you say it that way, it really wasn't the type of scene that would make you think it was the work of an actual person. Yeah, but even then, I still think it was a person who did it. That last scene, the one with the entryway, I think it might have been an illusional episode brought about by post-traumatic stress disorder.
I wouldn't know what's going on anymore, even if you didn't use such complicated words.
Poor Sadako. In other words, Keiichi was so scared that he was imagining things.
Then what was exactly the meaning behind that scene? What exactly was that mysterious presence behind Keiichi?
Oh!
Red herring. Redherring.
Mi-chan, what do you mean by red herring?
Like old man Tomataki here
Flash.
said, that scene was the result of Kei-chan having a stress-induced delusion from being mentally cornered. To expand on that a bit further, it was a ploy to make the player think it was a curse. That's why it was a red herring.
When you say it like that, but...
Well, it just means that there's that possibility. In that case, the theory that Oishi-san proposed during the story that it was a conspiracy by the villagers was correct. What does the man himself have to say about that? Oh, me! It makes you think, eh? Huh? I totally thought that Oishi-san would be behind the people explanation. During the story, I said it was definitely the work of people, but if a person really was to blame, that leaves a lot of loose ends. Like what? Let us hear what Detective Oishi-san's theory is. First of all, if the human is the culprit, then there has to be a motive. In other words, somebody has to gain something from it.
So what do you mean as if this was the work of people, there would have to be something gained from causing the chain of mysterious deaths?
Exactly. I feel that somebody could have benefited from the deaths of people related to the dam development, but the recent victims weren't related to that at all. First off, who benefits from killing Keiichi-kun? Bring them to me. I see. If you say it like that, my case is kind of weak too.
I mean, none of your money was stolen. There's no way it was human culprits.
But that's not everything there is to it, right? Like Mi-chan just said, there might have been some sort of reason for them to reenact the folklore.
Exactly. This wasn't a murder where you consider the typical motives. It makes me think this was most likely some sort of ritualistic murder to reenact the blood-stained history of the village.
That's awfully specific of you.
Very.
So, I'll ask the question of the hour.
Who gains from this reenactment?
It's not about simple benefit, it's a more psychological reason. I think that maybe this was an act of revenge, something native to the region. Fate was unable to be fooled this time around. Oh, I see. A member of some oppressed family looking to wear out an old grudge of their ancestors, something like that. I don't like that.
Then what is it? Couldn't be that you're leaning towards the curse explanation, Uishi-san.
That's right. The man playing the detective said so. It's decided it was a curse.
Ridiculous. The man playing the detective said so. If, like how Mayabara-san said during the story, it was the case that Oyashiro-sama possessed Rena-san and Tsuruzuki-san and committed those acts, that would fit the evidence the most, as much as I hate to say it.
Actually, I'm of the same opinion as Oishi-san. I can't come up with any other explanation for the normal account Rena and Michan to start acting so strangely like that.
About that, it may sound strange coming from the person herself, but I think that Mion did it.
I don't get what Mi is saying. I'd like an explanation.
Oh, sorry. In other words, I think this may end up being a really cruel story.
Wait, Michan, you don't mean...
If you follow the trail of evidence to the very end, that's how it would seem. I also have my suspicions. In other words, Rena-san and Tsuruzuki-san both actually had those personalities to begin with, and were merely deceiving Mayabara-san. Am I right?
I don't like that at all. It's all the curse's fault. Rena-san and Mion-san and everybody else are all kind, nice people.
I think that too. I think that Rena and Mion-chan are really good people at heart. I think that during the story, they definitely were possessed by something.
So Rena also thinks it was a curse. Then let me ask everyone who thinks it was a curse. There has to be a reason for a curse, right? I don't think there would be something indiscriminately cursing everything. Can somebody explain that?
A curse is a curse. Human logic won't get us anywhere.
Setsuko-chan, a personified deity is, in the end, nothing more than the creation of people. That's why their method of thinking is also understandable to humans. Just take a look at the Greek pantheon. They cry, get angry, get jealous. Basically, they're just like humans.
So what you're saying is that Oyashiro-sama is cursing people with some benefit in mind.
That's an odd way of putting it, but basically yes. Oh, that's why they say, far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. You do have a point.
Basically, it doesn't matter if it's Oyashiro-sama or humans. There has to be a reason.
But Rika, what if that reason isn't clear?
I don't know.
Useful.
Helpful.
That's right. This is still just the prologue. There's still a lot of stuff happening that hasn't been revealed yet.
Or released, for that matter.
Aha! Yeah. He's agreeing with you.
I know.
Yeah. He's hard to come up with any more theories at this point.
No, I won't be satisfied until this is all made clear.
Mion-san seems rather particular about this as well.
We'll just make this the best with what we know. Doesn't this feel interesting, like the club a little bit?
Yeah, if you put it that way, it does seem interesting.
Oh, goodness.
Well then, let's summarize. Let's see, I think it was a curse. Tomitaki Gun Flash thinks it was people, right? Yes, I'll go with it being people.
I'll also agree with the people explanation. That's not to say I hate such fantastic things like curses, but in this particular case, the connection to a curse is a little weak.
Two for the people explanation then. Rena-san was on the curse side of things, right?
Yep. Setsuko-chan and I believe it was a curse, right?
Yeah, I think it was a curse. People who say that Rena-san and Mion-san were evil to begin with are more befitting of a curse.
Wow.
Well, I didn't want to believe that my own personality was that twisted, but I have to be cool when I'm in club mode. If I base my choice on just emotion, I'll regret it, you know?
Scenes are so silly. Well, no, it doesn't really matter which side you pick, does it? Huh? Rika-chan hasn't said anything yet. What do you think?
I don't think that Oyashiro-sama is a bad god.
Huh? That's an interesting opinion.
I don't want to worship some bad god that just curses people. I'd like a generous god more than one that curses. That's right, Rika-chan is a shrine maiden. Yup, good opinion.
Good opinion. Then what? If Rika-chan doesn't believe that it was Oyashiro-sama, then do Do you think the perpetrators were human after all?
We'll just go with that. Star! Just gonna get one more in there for the end.
Well, now, that means the votes are split right down the middle.
How
so
convenient.
Half of us think it was a curse, and half of us think it was people.
Rena-chan, just for reference, what did the test players who played the beta version think? Yeah, there were a lot more players who believed in the people explanation.
See, right there. Our veteran comrades are cool, collected, and very observant.
But the beta version only finished partway through the story. That's right, even the people who played the beta might change their minds if they got through to the very end.
What should we do then? This means that the opinions are split. It's no fun if we don't settle this.
We need there to be an odd number of judges. In other words, we need one more opinion. Perfect timing then. Why don't we ask Keiichi-kun himself? Let's call him.
Are we gonna phone him or do we finally get a Sprite?
No, you're not gonna get a Sprite. This is great.
The opinion of the victim himself is very valuable.
Since that's decided, it's time for the phone.
It's great. What's this favorite fucking part?
This is gonna be so
It's
dumb.
great. It's great.
Hello, Keiichi-kun, it's Rena. Are you busy with work right now?
Yeah, really busy. Just when I thought I'd get a break because the chapter's over. It's already time for the next one.
He's learning his lines.
How's Keiichi? Busy?
Yeah, he's moping.
I can hear you, you know. Must be nice having a wrap-up party. I wanted to go too.
You can come if you got some carrot art for yourself.
Whoa, fucking bird.
Rika, that's a secret.
Rika, what?
Sorry about that, Keiichi-kun. Anyways, during the current chapter, Keiichi-kun, didn't you die? We were just talking about who the culprit might be.
Basically, we're deadlocked on whether we believe it was people or you're sure someone's curse that killed you.
I'm really sorry. Even though you're busy reviewing the script, Keiichi-kun, which do you think it was?
That's obvious, isn't it?
Which?
Isn't it both of them? Targeted by suspicious people from the village and then cursed by some stranger who sure somehow on top of that? It's both humans and a curse. Everybody's just picking on me.
Aww. So very, very pitiful. Next time, I'll pat you on the head for you.
Is that just, that's how we're ending?
No, not quite.
Okay. That was a very slow fade
Right.
for not
It
the
was,
ending.
I know, like laugh track plays over the top and it
Yeah.
ends. Yeah.
In the end, the opinion's still split.
And then it just cuts to black right there.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
would be such
It's pretty
stupid
great.
timing.
I'll think this over again. We might have missed something.
You don't think.
Maybe we're missing. You know what? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Well then, please look forward to the next release. Higurashi when they cry, or Tanagashi.
But we already had with Tanagashi.
Get out of life. Get out of here.
I'm sorry. It was a
Get
bad
outta
joke.
here.
I had to go.
I don't believe.
I had to
you
go
would-
for it.
Why would you do that? Why would you make
Well,
a
there
joke
we
like
go.
that, you fool? Anyway, that's it.
Oh
We did
my
it.
goodness,
We're
did it.
finished.
We've done
We
it.
finished chapter 1. We actually did it, guys.
We've done it.
We've been promising it for years.
Have we?
I don't know.
I don't think we have.
we've been asked to do it for years. I don't
That's
think we've
more- that's more
promised it for
accurate.
years. Anyway, achievement unlocked in the
Alrighty.
Kikushi party. We
Alrighty.
did it. We did it.
We've done it.
We gotta do one of those things that we usually do, where we do a tea party and we discuss the story.
That's a good idea.
So,
Next time.
yeah, next time.